Kids are amazing and expensive.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Bitwarden Password Manager. With the Olympics at hand, winning a gold medal in cybersecurity means protecting devices from anywhere. Available at bitwarden.com. And by Schwab. Schwab offers investors choices like full-service wealth management, self-directed investing options, and trading on Thinkorswim. More at schwab.com.
I'm David Brancaccio in New York. The fertility rate hit an historic low last year, but that's only one reason people are having fewer kids in America. A new survey from the Pew Research Center finds that money is a major factor in the kids, no kids decision. Among adults under 50 who say they're unlikely to have kids, 36% said they can't afford them. Marketplace's Samantha Fields reports.
People don't have kids for all sorts of reasons. They don't want to, they aren't able to, they don't meet a partner in time. Increasingly, Juliana Horowitz at Pew Research says a lot of younger people are also weighing the cost.
Younger adults are more likely to have college debt than their parents' generation. They're also more likely to live in their parents' home. And so there are some financial circumstances that might be leading them to say that at least right now they can't afford to raise a child.
Alyssa Schmier at the advocacy group Moms Rising says it's not surprising that so many younger people are feeling that way these days.
If you think about just the first 6 years of a child's life, that is so expensive.
The cost of diapers alone was shocking to her when she first had a kid. Then, of course, there's childcare, which can be as much or more than rent or a mortgage. And Schmier says there's just not much support for parents, financial or otherwise.
If we had policies in this country, investments in things like paid leave, childcare, full expansion of the child tax credit, housing that was affordable, I think a lot of the concerns would be subdued.
And more people might choose to have kids. I'm Samantha Fields for Marketplace.
6 multinational banks have agreed to pay $80 million to settle claims of price fixing. This involves European government bonds. Among the 6 are Bank of America, Citigroup, and Jefferies. Several pension funds sued, saying the banks bid up bond prices, then sold them at the higher prices. Marketplace's Nova Safo has details.
The settlement would end antitrust litigation first filed in 2019. Those suing include the Ohio Carpenters Pension Fund and the San Bernardino County Employees Retirement Association, based in California. They accuse major banks of coordinating among themselves to jointly bid up prices for euro-dominated 10-year bonds. This allegedly occurred between 2007 and 2012. The plaintiffs say bidding up prices allowed banks to dominate market share in those financial instruments. They then allegedly sold those bonds at inflated prices to mutual and pension funds and other investors. The settlement includes no admission of wrongdoing. JP Morgan Chase and 3 others had previously agreed to settle similar claims. If the latest settlement is approved by a federal judge in New York, it would bring the total amount banks have agreed to pay to $120 million. Banks have also been accused of colluding in other markets, including U.S. Treasuries. I'm Nova Safo for Marketplace.
Dow and S&P futures are up 0.4% now. NASDAQ futures up 0.6%. The Federal Reserve meets on the economy and interest rates this week. Any decisions and statements come Wednesday. Tentative deals have been reached between Hollywood studios and basic crafts unions, including the Teamsters. It's been a year and a half of bargaining, no details yet, and union members still have to vote. A deal would keep people working through the year 2026.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Rubrik, a cybersecurity company focused on securing the world's data. When cyber attacks put businesses, reputations, and careers at risk, Rubrik provides the power to bounce back fast and become cyber resilient. Rubrik.com. And by Amazon Business, focused on offering smart business buying solutions, leading time to focus on growth. More at AmazonBusiness.com.
The Environmental Protection Agency is now dispersing $4.3 billion in federal money to cut pollution and combat climate change over the next 6 years. Hundreds of local municipalities, states, and tribes applied to get a share of the money. 25 made the cut. Marketplace's Kaylee Wells reports.
The projects run the gamut. Forest management in Montana, livestock waste reduction in Nebraska, EV chargers in Southern California. What they all have in common, says the EPA's Jennifer Macedonia, is that they are
impactful investment-ready measures to reduce greenhouse gas pollution.
She says the projects the agency selected will eliminate 148 million metric tons of planet-warming gas emissions by 2030 and nearly 1 billion by 2050.
That is equivalent to the emissions from energy use in 5 million homes every year for 25 years.
A few of the grants are for less than $10 million, which isn't huge from a national perspective. But for some recipients, the awards will be massive.
It's 10 times larger than any other grant we've ever gotten in Cuyahoga County.
Mike Foley is administrator of Cuyahoga Green Energy, which is a young utility serving the greater Cleveland area. He says its $130 million award will go toward cleaning up the power on the local electric grid.
Our application in the EPA was to take 6 landfills or brownfield sites and just put a whole lot of solar on them.
All of that extra energy that solar generates will allow a local municipality to decommission a nearby coal-fired plant that dates back to 1888. The largest chunk of the federal money, nearly $1.2 billion, is going toward transportation. That sector generates the largest piece of the U.S.'s greenhouse gas emissions pie. Austin, Texas, got $48 million. The city's transportation officer, Michelle Marks, says it'll go toward building the region's
first light rail system and other transportation improvements, bus rapid transit.
The city is also expanding the Interstate 35 freeway, which is the main artery through town. That could be a nightmare for rush hour drivers for a while. And so the city will set out to do the environmental version of making lemons into lemonade.
When people's behavior is going to have to change anyway, we see this as kind of a leverage moment for us.
Some of the grant will go toward education and encouraging people to give the new public transit system a shot. The EPA is measuring the impact by 2050 in part because the administration's goal is to be net zero emissions by then. I'm Kaylee Wells for Marketplace.
And amid the surge of people using Novo Nordisk's weight loss drugs, Ozempic and Wegovy, the Food and Drug Administration is warning patients and doctors to The Food and Drug Administration is warning patients and doctors to measure doses correctly. There have been some hospitalizations with people injecting too much. Separately, the FDA has warned about fake Ozempic. In New York, I'm David Brancaccio, Marketplace Morning Report. Here from APM, American Public Media.